A central factor distinguishing the Trump administration's deportation approach from prior practice was how enforcement intensity was structured and scaled. In 2025, senior White House advisors publicly discussed setting a goal for Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) to arrest at least 3,000 people per day, a target vastly higher than the agency's historical daily averages and its capacity at the time. This emphasis on rapidly escalating arrests, effectively a throughput quota, shaped enforcement in ways that contributed both to visible chaos and avoidable harm. 1. A turn the intensity knob up culture. Rather than operating via traditional case-by-case enforcement priorities, ICE agents were pressured to increase arrests sharply. Internal reporting linked this to a broader directive from the White House to markedly expand daily apprehensions, with field offices instructed to meet numerical goals for arrests. This wasn't about creativity and tactics, it was about ramping up enforcement intensity across jurisdictions before adequate staffing, training, or procedural refinement had taken place. 2. Training and preparation lagged behind operational demands. A rapid push for higher arrest totals inherently compresses the time available for preparing agents to conduct complex interior enforcement operations responsibly and lawfully. As enforcement moved into community settings, courthouses, workplaces, neighborhoods, agents often lacked the specialized training in community engagement, constitutional boundaries, and legal nuance that interior enforcement at scale demands. This mismatch between expectations of performance and institutional readiness contributed to mistakes, rights violations, and public outcry. 3. Enforcement shifted toward quantity over contextual judgment. Multiple analyses indicate that as arrest targets increased, ICE apprehended a growing share of people without criminal convictions, a marked departure from the administration's own framing of enforcement as focused on the worst of the worst. This trend is consistent with a system under pressure to fill daily numeric goals rather than to exercise case-by-case judgment about risk, legality, and proportionality. There's a useful analogy from clinical medicine: titration. In medical practice, a treatment typically begins with a low dose coupled with close monitoring and active feedback for harmful effects. Only when a patient tolerates the initial dose without adverse reactions is the dosage increased incrementally. This approach allows clinicians to optimize therapeutic impact while minimizing harm. By contrast, the 3,000 per day enforcement goal functioned more like starting at a high dose without calibrated feedback loops. The administration's rush to achieve high numerical outcomes, a lot, and we want it now, outpaced the system's ability to adapt operationally, legally, and ethically. That gap between aspiration and infrastructure contributed to systemic strain, undermined due process, and amplified social disruption and fear, rather than producing a smoother, more controlled enforcement process.